today I am finally talking about blocks. Or is it Blokees? I don't know. People send me very big signals about this. Now, before we begin, I want to say I love Transformers. I mean, my whole channel's around Transformers. I have a huge collection. My wife almost left me because I kept collecting them.
Dang! Jeez.
But typically, the types of Transformers figures I collect is the Generations toyline and Studio Series. And typically, if a Transformers doesn't transform, I don't want it. And that was my policy for the longest time. And I'm gonna be honest, I saw the Blokees, products in plenty of social media, and other YouTubers talk about it. So I always had a passing interest to it. But today, I'm finally giving it a chance to see if I actually really like them. And after collecting quite a few of them, I have to say that So I managed to get my hands on quite a few of them through some undisclosed measures, I'm not gonna say how. And I'm gonna be taking a look at all of them to see if they're truly awesome or awful. So Blokees apparently is kind of like YOLO Park, in which, it's a company that also makes, base collectible toys based around a variety of other franchises like Hasbro, Pokemon, Ultraman, and of course for this video, Transformers. Blokees themselves specializes on passing on the fun of building to audiences and plenty of collectors. I'm not gonna lie, it low-key kind of reminds me of the old Creo toy line, so it already has that appeal for me, so that's one of the reasons why I decided to get them a try. Recently, they did a couple of toys based on Transformers 1, and by the way, golden movies, so that's the best way to start my Blokees journey. They recently released a wave based on the Transformers 1 figures, so you got characters like Megatron, Orion Pax, B-127, Elita, Cogless, Alpha Trion, Shockwave, Soundwave, the best design of Starscream I've seen so far, and D16. Although the figures are surprisingly enough very mobile. You can rotate their elbows, their shoulders, their knee joints, their heads. I was actually very impressed by the mobility these figures have and the possibility as well, especially when you compare them to some of the Generation toyline toys. Chase. They even come with plenty of accessories that you can, mix and match if you want. Some of these are reference to the movies like the jetpacks and oh my god, the Cyber Deer! Yo, golden. Just because of that, I think this is already a 10 out of 10.
A few inches later.
So I'm gonna be talking about some of these figures individually, and I'm gonna be doing it IRL style, yeah. So the first figure I decided to open was Alpha Trion. Now all the figures come in these little boxes, and they come with a set of instructions, and some extra expressive hands. Now when taking Alpha Trion out of the box, it came in pieces, and I basically had to slowly, build him up, like his body, starting with the torso, then moving on to the legs, the crotch, the arms, until I managed to make him stand straight. Alpha Trion here is based off Transformers 1, and he comes with this little blade that I don't think he used in the movie, but then again, I don't think many of the primes got to do that much action in the movie, so maybe I missed it. But he honestly looks pretty good and looks pretty one-to-one with his non-damage model that we see in the movie. You can get him into quite a few pulses, and even some were left to spare, so if you ever lose any parts, then that's not a huge issue because you have a few spare ones you can use. For my first build, this took me around 10 minutes, but it took a little longer because I was unfamiliar with how the Blokees process works, so I was also kind of being dumb and losing a few figures here and there. So yeah, I'll admit it was mostly my fault, but it was kind of fun. And as for my second figure I murderized out of the package was the one and only Orion Pax. If Alpha Trion was easy mode, Orion Pax was intermediate mode. I'm not saying that these figures are particularly hard to, put together. I mean, I'll talk about some of the difficulty a little later, but the Orion Pax took me a little longer to assemble because he had a bit more parts that went into him. He even comes with like the little mining cloth that they use in the film, which I think it's actually quite a cute detail. And even a mini Matrix leadership, which by the way, he can actually hold. It looks kind of funny, in all honesty, it looks pretty adorable. And I did wanted to test this out and give it to my Studio Series Optimus Prime to see how well it would go, and lo and behold, it can actually not go that well. I mean, it got kind of close. Look guys, I tried, okay? Alright, time for the next package. Close your eyes, kids. The next one I opened up was D16, and I'll be honest, this one was actually pretty easy to like assemble together. By this point, I was getting more and more familiar with the way the block keys worked, so assembling this one was less difficult. It goes with this little gun and the jetpack that they use in the film, which again, I just love the little details they add onto these figures. Also, something I want to say is that you don't necessarily have to do what the instructions tell you. You can be yourself, be free, man, and build whatever abomination you want. Like, I wasn't kidding with the whole Creo comparison. Like, if you really want to, you can, like, you know, give Megatron's arms to Optimus, or do some weird kind of crazy combinations. Like, the sky's the limit, honestly. Like, the only thing stopping you is your imagination. As for me, I present to you Both Alita. Artists, you know what to do. After that, I got working on Shockwave, and now Shockwave probably had the most part out of the rest that I handled so far. He's actually quite tall too in comparison to the rest, which is actually pretty accurate to the movie. He comes with 2 hands, but don't worry, you can remove one of those hands and just give him his iconic, you know, laser hand. So there weren't that many issues there. Something that I want to add is that they actually added a roll valley anti-wear around the hips, so that way when you move the torso, it doesn't damage the figure, so this will last you for a long time. And despite how compact some of these might look, the pieces inside, the joints, the bolts, and all that kind of stuff that connects to one another don't exactly collide with one another that much, so there's very little risk of you damaging the figure by just playing around and messing with it. Which, again, as a collector, this is something that I respect and I admire quite well, because a lot of my figures got damaged because I will mess with them too much. I'm looking at you, TOK Barricade. After that, I got working on Starscream, and I'm not gonna lie, Starscream was my favorite out of the bunch. Not only is the Transformers 1 Starscream design the most S-tier design out there, but the toy itself was actually pretty fun to build too. Though I'll be honest, I did make a mistake halfway through and accidentally placed the wings backwards, so I had to fix that mistake pronto. After that, my next figure was
Badassatron.
Now, despite being such a simple design, a lot went into the construction of this one. A lot of the finer details, especially around the legs and the back, were incorporated quite well. It comes with his little plasma cannon from the movie and the knife hands that he uses to chop people.
I'm gonna cut these guys, watch!
And he even comes with his little Helldiver's helmet. I'm not gonna lie, this was actually really cool. I actually had a lot of fun with Bumblebee. I think he's probably one of my favorite Blokees figures I have so far. I know it's a very small selection so far, but actually, the amount of variety I have with him actually put a smile on my face. My only complaint is that I wish he had more accessories. And then we had Elita 1. Now, Elita 1 was a female, and in comparison to all the other Blokees I had built, they all kind of share the same base, you know, the chest and a few other parts here and there with some differences. Don't get me wrong, they were all fairly unique, but Elita 1 was probably, it is the most unique one out of this collection. Because of, like, the way her body is, and she's a lot skinnier than the rest, her parts were actually vastly different from the rest, and assembling her was kind of a pain in some cases. Though granted, it was probably me just being dumb, which, I'll be honest, it kind of happens a lot, but still. Eventually, I did manage to build her up, but damn it actually took quite a bit to get her assembled. I actually really like how different she is from the rest of the cast. I think she looks really good. They even gave her the jetpack from the movie, which they totally didn't have to, but honestly, I think it adds a bit to it. You can even repurpose that backpack to other figures if you want. And she goes with the Cyber Deer, which, you know, immediate W. But I'm not gonna lie, at the end of building her, I was beat. After that, we had Megatron, and since I already built D16, I already kind of knew how to do Megatron here, so he didn't take that long. He honestly looks really cool and comes with a little T-Cock, which I assume that's the old T-Cock he takes out of him before replacing it with Megatronus' T-Cock in the movie, which is actually a very cool detail. And the double fusion cannon is just a cherry on top of the sundae. Something else I should mention is that apparently there's also a hidden Megatron variant for this wave of the Transformers 1 Blokees. He has a glowing fusion cannon, a slightly different looking T-Cock, some different color scheme here and there, and the burning Decepticon insignia from the film, which I actually think that's pretty sick. Unfortunately, I didn't get it, but I'll probably be on the lookout for that whenever it comes out. And for whatever reason, I managed to find it in my retail stores. And of course, I had to save the best for last and do Soundwave last. Now, Soundwave was actually pretty easy to build because by this point I kind of already knew the process, so this one didn't take that long. Though I have to admit, I did a bit of an oopsie and put too much force when removing one of the hands, and that kind of went flying at the beginning, so Yeah, I spent a good while searching for that missing hand. Also, I probably should have mentioned earlier, but a lot of these figures, when you get them, they come with these little cards, which are basically collectibles, and they have like their renders from the film, which honestly I think they all look really sick. And I think that's the best way I could describe the Blokees as a whole. They have great possibility. You can get them into a variety of different, poses and stuff like that. They have great balance. I mean, look at this Bumblebee. Like, he's holding by one leg and he's not even falling. Like, I feel like a lot of these figures are perfect for stop motions, especially a lot of the cogless variants. Also, the Cyber Deer doesn't have any joints or stuff like that to move, but he doesn't need it because he's God.
No fear, no hate, no anger.
There's something about these figures that, I'm not gonna lie, as a collector, I really, really like. Honestly reminds me of this old Transformers figures I used to collect back in the day. They were like this mini, miniature versions of the movie Transformers. But unlike the Blokees, they had less possibility and you could only move the hands. Well, this is like that, but 10 times better because you can actually move them and play around with them, and they actually last and don't seem to break in the slightest. I haven't had any problems with the figures falling apart, if anything. Once you assemble them together and put everything firmly and in its correct place, these figures don't even fall down or break down or any of that jazz. But look, just for fun and giggles, I'm gonna put these guys alongside the Transformers Reactivate Bumblebee. Yeah, the Lux class figure. Here they are right next to Voyager Ironhide, here they are right next to Earthrise Cliff Jumper, and here they are right next to Commander Optimus, and I'm gonna put Wembley here just for good measure. And as you guys can see here, I think some of these guys scale pretty well with the larger figures from other, Transformers products. So if you're worried that they won't fit in your collection, I actually think they do for the most part, especially considering that the Transformers 1 cast is supposed to be kind of on the small side, apparently. So in my opinion, there's some good scaling going on here. But yeah, guys, those are the Blokees. I'm not gonna lie, I actually, I was missing out. I actually really like these. I think they're fun to collect. The Cyber Deer is just God! And overall, they have this really fun vibe in which, I feel like they're simple enough to the point that you could give this to, like, someone younger that will like it, like a young kid, a nephew, or something along those lines. Or you could give this to a grown-ass collector and they will also really enjoy it. Due to how movie accurate they are, like, I'm not even kidding, like, the Transformers 1 star screen is actually 1-to-1 with the movie star screen. But time to answer the question you guys have all been asking. Is Transformers Blokees Wave 2 awesome or awful? I have to say that these get the fire seal of approval. Yay! But yeah, guys, that's basically my review for Blokees. People have been asking me to give these a chance, and I finally did. Will I be collecting more of these? Well, I mean, yeah, I guess. Like, I actually really like them. I wouldn't mind going out of my way to collect more. I have my eyes set on those Beacon Troopers from Wave 1. I can't believe I missed out on them, especially with how much you guys know I love Beacons. But yeah, I think I will talk more about Blokees in the future as more news of, future waves and stuff comes out. I know they're doing more stuff in the future. I know they're doing more stuff with Transformers, so I will totally give that a try as more stuff from them comes out. But yeah, I guess the whole thing I said about, if it doesn't transform, I don't care about it, is no longer true. So in one of those rare times in history, Fire was wrong. Play the music! But yeah, guys, that's it for this video. Hopefully you'll enjoy. As always, let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments down below. Do you like Blokees? Have you tried them out? Which figures do you recommend I should get? Because, like, I'm interested in getting a few of these. And would you guys like to hear me talk more about them? Because, again, it's Transformers related. I really like them. I had quite a bit of fun making this video. I don't often talk much about the toys I collect. But since you all insisted on me making this video, I am glad to do this for once. So, yeah. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. Hopefully you'll enjoy. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Do all that annoying YouTuber stuff the algorithm likes so much. And I will see you guys in the next video. Stay safe, guys.